this collector on the corner. And there was a comment made on the last video I made about them Homelite saws and this and that. XL12, Super XL. And what I wanted to say, my daddy, he bought a brand new XL12. Okay, Daddy bought a brand new XL12 in 1964. I was 13 years old and I got to use a brand new chainsaw. He had a big old heavy David Bradley. It was a blue saw like this one right here, that color. And that's when they came out with them. And up to that time, most all the saws, a light saw was 35 pounds. Guys lugged them old saws around the woods and this and that. Well, somebody showed up in the log woods with an XL12 and everybody laughed at him. 2-foot bar on that thing, he'd cut down a 40-inch tree, run up there and limb that thing. Them guys would limb them trees before with a sharp axe, because rather than carry that saw up and down that tree trunk on a steep hill. And it got where people wasn't using them big saws as much, but Homelite still, they came out in '64, but they still continued to make their C5 and C51, C52 and C72 and C9s and them on up for a few years, because until they realized that XL12, well, they made them right up till they come up with the 9 series and the, 923s and them earlier ones. Anyway, and my collection kind of revolves around that XL12. Was the most copied chainsaw ever made. Everybody that's seen it wanted to make one like it. And that's kind of what my collection, I'll buy them that kind of a knockoff, if you want to call it. I've got one '64 model XL12, and it's this circle saw right here. And it's got a felt fill system. It's 54 cc's. And it's loud. Not all XL12s was blue. Everybody thinks the early saws was blue, and if it's red, it's a late model saw. Right here. See where you put the oil in? Down here low. This is XL12. And it's one of them. It's made in North Carolina. But it's XL12. It's got a punch type ignition in it. This saw run, but it don't have automatic oiler, and I never could. I worked on it, and I never could get this manual oiler to working. If you can't get your chain to working, the saw's not going to work. So I've been robbing parts off of it and fixing other saws with parts from it. The motor run good. It is a good little engine. I can still use sleeve and piston stuff on them. Then in '67, I think, Homelite come out with this saw right here. This is a manual oiler saw, and I got it, and it's not going to run. It'll bust off on a prime. It's not going to run because if you look, the fuel tank's eat out on it. It's got holes in it. It's ate up. It's got leaks in it. See, look on the inside of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to change the fuel tank. But this saw here, you pour the oil in the top. But this is manual oil. See that silver button?
Uh-huh.
There's not a slot there for a screwdriver. This is a The original XL12 54 cc's and this is 58 cc. And I think the reason they made this, they called it the XL12 because the engine weighed 12 pounds without the barred chain. And there was a young engineer designed that thing. And for some reason, he left Homelite. He went to Lombard in 1967, and he developed this saw right here. This Lombard. It looks almost identical to XL12, but there ain't a single part on this saw other than maybe the spark plug that will interchange. I guess he did that for copywriting. And I think their Lombard's superior to the Homelite because that same engineer, he fixed the stuff that wasn't so great on the other one. This saw here is both manual and automatic oiler, and what he did, he used the crankshaft pressure to pressurize the oil chamber to oil the bar, and it's got an adjustment up here on the front that you can screw the screw in how much oil you're going to put on the chain. This saw here, my son bought this for me last Christmas. He seen it on the internet locally, and he bought it. I think he gave $35 for it, and I got it running. And it run, but it won't hold a tune because the crankshaft seals is leaking. It's going to need a set of crankshaft seals. But and everybody and his brother started knocking off them Homelites XL12. And I don't know if you want to call this this blue one a Super XL or XL12 still yet, I don't know. But most of them aren't XL12s. Most of them turn out to be a Super XL automatic, like this one right here. This is the newest one I got. It's a Terry built saw, it's made in Canada. And a little plastic, hard to find Homelite scalper just fell off of it. But that's a good run saw. I've used it quite a bit. It is 58 cc, and they never increased that Homelite Super Series to above 58 cc. That's as big as they've ever made them. But everybody and his brother decided they wanted to get into the lightweight chainsaw business, and a big lot of them was already making chainsaws in the 50s, and big lot of them all used that Power Products AH47 or 57, 54 power head. The Sears used it, and a whole bunch of them used that. But I got this Lombard. It's a knockoff of XL12. This one right here is a Pioneer. It's the same thing, or Poland. This is the same thing as the 306A, only 306A's in a fancier case. You know, that's the one they used on the Chainsaw Massacre, 306A. But this is a Poland. And it looks a lot similar to the XL12. Pioneer. Looks similar, about the same size CCs, you know, and about the same weight. They're just a copy. This one right here, I guess you might call it a copy. It's a big old saw. And see that B on there? I thought that was a Barker when I got it. But come to find out, right down there, it's a Chrysler Corporation. Even Chrysler Corporation was into making chainsaws.
Wowza.
And Sears had Roper build them this one. It's a Roper, but it's a Sears.
Yep, Crafts.
And that's a knockoff of XL12.
Yeah.
And McCullough. There's not really a knockoff so much. It's even got the starter on the other side. See, the starter's on this side instead of being on this side?
Uh-huh.
And that's a disadvantage to me.
Uh-huh.
It's an advantage to right-handed people.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I'm left-handed. It works better on the other side for me. My old buddy Jim, he was a big old boy. And back when he weighed about 350 pounds, he had one of these. We worked on a Tornado, and everybody called him Marcel. And he thought they was bragging on him. They was kind of making fun of him because Marcel led better, but he liked Jerry Clower, and he liked all them stories anyway, you know. He especially liked the one where Marcel took his chainsaw and stuck it through the screen door of that store because he'd been up in a log truck, and they hollered on him to bring him out one of them cold sodies, and they told him, well, you just come on in here and get it. You're too lazy. So he just went up there to that, and when he come out of that truck, he had that little chainsaw going. He sawed the door down. But that was Marcel, Jerry Clower. So the old Jim, he never used nothing but McCullough saws right up until the time that they quit making them. And when they quit making them, he just kept using the old ones he had and taking them, getting them fixed and all that, you know. And McCullough, Homelite, when everybody started copying their saw, in 67, 68, along in there, they decided they was gonna discontinue the XL12 type saws. And they come out with this little thing here. It only weighs 10 pounds. Same CCs, got a lot more power, turns a lot more RPM, got more compression. They had to build a compression release into it. But what happened, they laminated that fuel tank together. Cost saving. And the fuel tanks on the early ones leaked. Well, they fixed it later, so you can see where the screws are now. This here's got the screws in it. They fixed it. But they only built this saw for a few years, and it wasn't going to take the place of the XL12 or the Super XLs. So they quit making it. They just were viable. So then they come out and they used this. This little Super Easy, it's about a 42cc saw. Weighs about 9 pounds. They're a nice little saw and everything. So that's what the deal with the saws are. And there's a few more models of knockoff saws that I ain't come across, but if I come across them at my price, I'm gonna buy them. And
Why?
I'd like to encourage anybody, you know, if young or old, it don't matter. If you want to get into a hobby, just collecting old chainsaws is the cheapest hobby you can get into. The most I ever paid for a saw,
Have you seen
I
Leon's
paid
collection?
$242 cash, taxes and all, for a Homelite XL 923 back in 1972. The next highest price I ever paid for a saw was in 2000. I bought a Husqvarna Rancher 55. It was on sale for Christmas special for $200. And I went and bought it, and then I had to pay some taxes on top of that. And I got another one there. I got a little money in. There was one in Texas I went and got, and it cost me $80 for the saw and $70 for fuel. And probably $10, $20 for what me and my grandson ate on the way down there and back. So, but most of these saws is, you know, $5 or $10 saws. You know, I paid $15 for a few. You know, I think I give $35 for this, and it's in the plastic case and had an extra new chain with it. But anyway, all them old saws, and you know, just like I bought that one yesterday, $15. It froze up, stuck. That sounds bad. But what I found out with old chainsaws, old vehicles, any kind of old engine, a stuck engine was probably good because the clearances was tight, and they're more likely to stick than an old wore out one that all the clearances sloppy and everything. It can rain down them a lot of times, they won't stick. But anyway, that one I bought yesterday, it's right here. I went out there after dark last night. I pulled the muffler off of it, and pulled the spark plug off of it. It was locked up, and the start rope was jerked out. And I took the side cover off, and I cleaned around on it a little bit. I put some PB blaster in the spark plug hole and then the side, and I could look in that muffler, and the side of that piston didn't look too bad. And this morning when I went out there to wiggle a little, I wiggled it, and I finally broke it free. And I got around there and I put a different side cover on it than the one that was on, so the start rope was jerked out, the spring bad in it. And I sanded on the flywheel where them magnets are and cleaned that crust off there. And lo and behold, it's making sparks. So, what I did, I give it a little drink. I think my turtle's gonna. So, fuel line don't look too bad on it. It's not. And the fuel tank ain't that bad on the inside. I've got some stuff poured in there. It had some old varnishy gas in it. I'm gonna put a good fuel filter on it to try it out. I may not have to take that carburetor apart. You never know. But this is a later model saw. It's a Super XL automatic. It was made in North Carolina. And you can look, when you're messing with old saws, you can look in that cylinder right there. And you can turn that. And if your rings is free and you can see the other side and it ain't scored up, that's a viable saw. Anyway, so this is that $15 saw I bought yesterday. And what I'll do with it, I'll take the flywheel off so I can be sure and clean between the gas tank and the crankcase where the air will come through there and come out in the front here. And I'll clean it up real good and go put it back together and use it some. But I don't know how many chainsaws I got, done lost count. Too many to keep up with. But I come out here this morning and spent a little bit of time set this up here for y'all. And I probably won't get a lot of views on it, but it's part of what we do. And a lot of these saws, I have used them a lot. I've sawed a lot with this one. And I've sawed a lot with this Poland right here. That and there I hadn't used, and I hadn't used that in too much. And this one right here, I used it a lot. I give $10 for this at the auction. I bought a whole bunch of saws there that day. And this sold later on in the auction. I give $10 for it. And I didn't have to do nothing to it. I mean nothing. All I had to do is put fresh gas and oil and use it. And the only thing I have done with it is had a black plastic cover on the air cleaner. And I put one of these magnesium covers on there because I just don't like plastic on a chainsaw. But anyway, that's the video. And she's waving at me. She's wanting me, but she had her tablet empty out. And yesterday's video got cut off short. I guess the tablet run out of room or something and it got cut off short, so that's the way it ended up. But anyway, today's a real pretty day. It's the 22nd October. And it's pretty hot. I was out here without a shirt on most of the morning. And I'm going to let my garden grow till the frost comes. I ain't going to worry about that.
Y'all have a great day. Goodbye and good luck to you.
I got to go out here and gang up some leaves and stuff.
Stop talking.
Some leaves and grass and stuff. I need to bale some hay. I've got 3 mother rabbits that's going to have babies. They was bred the first part of the month, and they'll have babies around the latter part of the month, 1st of November, sometime like along in there. So I gotta get them some nesting material. I need to get some put in with the pigs too, so I'm gonna have to go. I like to use leaves. I'm gonna rake up a whole big bunch of leaves.
You need to
But
pick
I need to
up
bale some hay too. And
You need to pick up your things over there.
what?
Your headphones.
Yeah, they're on the ground.
Okay.
I'll remember to pick
Okay.
them up.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Man, well, we'll say goodbye and good luck to you. And one thing I want to say, as old as I am, and a lot of times things don't go as good as I want them to, and they got a lot of problems, I'm still happy to be here and glad to be alive. I think of that every morning when I wake up. And where I got that from, there's a group of famous musicians got together and they formed this little band called the Traveling Wilburys. And one of them died. You probably heard of him, named Roy Orbison. So they did this song, The End of the Line, and they had Roy Orbison's guitar sitting there in a rocking chair rocking while they was singing that song. And that was one of the lyrics that Tom Petty's had on the song, was happy to be here and glad to be alive. And somehow that just struck a chord with me. And I a lot of times people ask me how I'm doing. I always tell them, glad to be here and happy to be alive. And I think that's a good way of looking at things.
Okay.
So we'll say goodbye and good luck to you. Debbie's not doing her usual comment because she's got a real bad sore throat. She can't hardly speak.
It's not really sore.
So I ain't getting yelled at. I might be whispered at, but not yelled at. So, goodbye.
You stinkweed.
What?
I said you stinkweed.
Stinkweed, she called me.
Yep. Okay. Bye, y'all, and thank you for watching. And be sure and like and subscribe and comment below. Thank you. Bye.